My beautiful chosen ones, take a deep breath with me. Settle your spirit. Release the weight you have carried for so long. For too long you have walked a path marked by misunderstanding and silence. You have known truths that others could not grasp. You have held wisdom within you that the world dismissed, not because it was false, but because it was profound. And in this journey, you have often felt alone, haven't you? You have stood at the crossroads of your own intuition and the skepticism of those around you, and more often than not, you chose to honor the quiet knowing in your soul, even when it meant being questioned, even when it meant being doubted. Think about those moments, the times you saw the storm brewing on the horizon while everyone else was caught up in the clear sky. You saw the subtle shifts in energy, the hidden motives behind the pleasant smiles, and the true nature of situations and people. You tried to share your insights, to offer a word of caution or a glimpse of clarity, but your voice was met with blank stares, with polite dismissals, or with outright disbelief. They called you overly sensitive. They said you were too spiritual, too deep, and too dramatic. You were told to be more practical, to live in the real world, and to stop seeing what wasn't there. And for a moment, perhaps you even believed them. You may have tried to dim your own light, to quiet the voice of your anointing just to fit in. You may have attempted to shrink your truth to make others comfortable, to make your wisdom more palatable. But the spiritual law is unyielding. Truth, like water, always finds its way. And now, the very truths you spoke are revealing themselves. The storms you warned of have broken. The hidden motives you sensed are now in plain sight. The very situations you cautioned against have unfolded exactly as your spirit forewarned. The universe, in its perfect divine timing, is bringing everything into the open. The scales are falling from the eyes of those who once doubted you. The quiet whispers of your wisdom are now roaring back as undeniable facts. And so, my dear chosen one, you are at a sacred turning point. You are not just witnessing the vindication of your spirit. You are stepping into a new season of recognition. People are finally beginning to realize how wise you truly are. They are seeing the truth of your discernment, the depth of your insight, and the purity of your intentions. They are looking back at their own past dismissals and experiencing a deep, profound regret. They are understanding that their inability to believe you was not a reflection of your lack of truth, but of their own spiritual blindness. This is not a moment for ego or for saying, "I told you so." This is a moment for spiritual grace, for quiet humility, and for profound gratitude. It is a moment to recognize that your wisdom was a divine gift, not a human boast. It was never for your own glory, but for the glory of the one who anointed you. You were chosen not to be praised, but to be a vessel of truth. And now, that vessel is being acknowledged. Let this moment wash over you, not as a victory over others, but as a confirmation of your spiritual path. For in this unfolding, you are not just a person, you are a living testament to divine wisdom. Let us now move into the core of this divine message, understanding the 7 signs that this spiritual realization is finally taking hold in the hearts and minds of those around you. Point 1. The subtle shift in their regard. You will notice a change in the way people look at you. It is subtle at first, almost imperceptible, but once you become aware of it, it cannot be ignored. It is no longer a glance of dismissal or polite tolerance, the kind that brushes you aside as if your presence holds little significance. Instead, their eyes begin to linger for a moment longer, not in scrutiny or judgment, but in quiet introspection. They are observing you differently now, almost as if they are trying to decipher a truth that has always been there, but was invisible to them before. This shift is not accidental. It is the natural response to a person who has grown beyond the ordinary constraints of thought and perception. A chosen one carries an energy that subtly resonates with others, even when they do not understand it. There is a magnetism in quiet self-mastery, in the ability to move through the world with a grounded calm that is unshakable. People sense this, even if they cannot articulate it. Psychologists call this phenomenon the projection of awareness, the idea that those who are awakened, intentional, or spiritually attuned reflect a subtle mirror to those around them, revealing the gaps between ordinary perception and deeper understanding. What is fascinating is that this change in perception is rarely accompanied by loud acknowledgement. There are no overt praises, no declarations of admiration, and no need for recognition. Instead, it is a gentle shift in their spiritual posture towards you, a silent acknowledgement that the wisdom they once dismissed has been proven true. In some ways, this is more powerful than applause or congratulations because it signals transformation, not just admiration. People are learning to recalibrate their understanding of you, to measure their assumptions against the reality of your presence. This phenomenon can be observed in history as well as in daily life. Think of figures like Nikola Tesla, whose contemporaries often overlooked him until the brilliance of his work could no longer be ignored. Or consider spiritual leaders whose early teachings were met with skepticism, only to be embraced decades later as foundational truths. The recognition, when it comes, is rarely loud. It is subtle, almost reverent, like the bow of acknowledgement between a student and a master. What makes this experience so profound is the internal effect it has on you as the chosen one. You begin to see the world differently too. When people respond with quiet recognition rather than overt praise, you realize the true power of presence, of living in alignment with your purpose. You understand that validation from the external world is never the goal. It is the natural byproduct of authenticity, wisdom, and spiritual clarity. You become aware that the energy you project is not just personal, it subtly influences the collective consciousness of those around you. At times you may even notice subtle behaviors, a pause before someone speaks, a careful choice of words, or a newfound patience when interacting with you. These are not mere social niceties, they are indicators of a deep, often unconscious recalibration. People are learning in real time to treat your energy with respect. This is a sign that your journey as a chosen one is not only about your own evolution, but also about the impact you have on the evolution of those around you. Ultimately, this change in perception is both a mirror and a compass. It reflects your growth while pointing towards your continued path of higher awareness. The world around you may begin to recognize the subtle authority of wisdom, the quiet power of integrity, and the magnetic presence of someone who walks intentionally. And in that recognition there lies a profound truth. When you embody the essence of a chosen one, the universe itself ensures that those who once underestimated you begin to see the depth they had ignored, and it changes everything. Point 2. The return of the prodigal questioner. Someone who once questioned your spiritual truths will now return to you, not to challenge you, but to seek your guidance. It's a profound moment when the universe orchestrates such encounters, and for you, the chosen one, it is a confirmation of your growth, patience, and alignment with your higher purpose. The person who once dismissed your insights, who perhaps laughed at your practices or questioned your connection to higher energies, is now approaching from a place of humility. This is not coincidence. It is a reflection of the cyclical nature of spiritual awakening and the unseen forces that guide those who are ready to learn. Consider the subtle mechanics of this process. Often people resist truths that confront their ego or worldview. When someone initially questions your spiritual insights, it isn't always out of malice. It's usually a shield, a defense mechanism against change. The ego fears transformation, fearing that letting go of old beliefs will lead to uncertainty or loss of control. Yet life has a way of humbling even the most resistant spirits. Challenges, setbacks, or sudden clarity can dismantle long-held illusions, leaving them open to wisdom they once rejected. When they return to you now, their approach is different. They are softer, more attentive, and genuinely curious. This is a direct sign that their spirit has been tempered by experience and is ready to absorb truths that resonate with their soul's growth. From a spiritual perspective, this moment is also about your energy. As a chosen one, your vibrations are aligned with higher consciousness. You have walked a path of patience, self-reflection, and resilience, and in doing so, you have cultivated a magnetic field that attracts those ready for transformation. Your past efforts, your guidance, your teachings, your lived example were seeds planted in fertile but unready soil. Now, after the storms of life have altered their perception, these seeds can finally take root. This is a reminder that your purpose is not always about immediate recognition, but about long-term spiritual impact. Interestingly, there is also a psychological dimension to this phenomenon. Human beings are naturally drawn to sources of wisdom that they respect or that have withstood time and trials. When someone returns seeking your perspective, it is often because they have witnessed the tangible effects of your principles in action. Perhaps they observed your composure in the face of adversity, your unwavering moral compass, or the serenity you maintain despite chaos. This is a subtle yet undeniable signal that spiritual credibility is not argued for, it is demonstrated. The universe often orchestrates these encounters at exactly the right moment. It is rarely random that someone approaches you for guidance after previously dismissing it. Timing is a sacred element in spiritual growth. Their return is a testament not only to their awakening, but also to your endurance and alignment. It is a confirmation that the truths you hold are powerful, transformative, and anchored in wisdom that transcends transient opinions or criticisms. When this moment arrives, it is vital to approach it with grace. Share your insights not from a place of superiority, but from understanding and compassion. Remember, the Chosen One's role is not to enforce belief, but to illuminate paths for those who are ready to see. Their curiosity is a mirror reflecting your own patience and spiritual authenticity. In guiding them, you solidify your role as a beacon for others, reinforcing the divine truth that wisdom is eternal, and those who are meant to receive it will always return when the timing is right. Point 3. The public acknowledgement. In the intricate dance of human interaction, there comes a moment when the world quietly acknowledges the truth you've always carried. Picture this. You are in a group setting, maybe a casual gathering or a more formal discussion, and someone who once doubted your insight suddenly nods in agreement. Not only that, but they reference a conversation from months or even years ago where you shared an idea, a vision, or a truth that was dismissed at the time. The way they now repeat your words, almost reverently, is not mere coincidence. It is a sign, a subtle yet unmistakable acknowledgement that the universe is realigning and the scales of spiritual understanding are beginning to tip in your favor. This public validation is more than social approval. It is a reflection of the deeper energetic currents at play. As a chosen one, your journey is inherently tied to truth and perception. You operate on a frequency that often feels out of sync with those around you, and your insights are frequently dismissed as improbable, impractical, or even impossible. Yet, reality has a way of catching up. When your words, once brushed aside, are now echoed by others, it signals that your internal wisdom has begun to manifest externally. What was once private knowledge or inner conviction is now undeniable reality for those who are witnessing it unfold. History is full of these moments if we know where to look. Philosophers, inventors, and visionaries, people like Nikola Tesla, Hypatia of Alexandria, and even modern-day thought leaders, have all experienced this phenomenon. Their ideas were once doubted, their insights questioned, yet in time, the world recognized the weight of their truth. When a skeptic publicly validates a chosen one's words, it is reminiscent of the same cosmic acknowledgement that has repeated throughout human history. The energy of your foresight is being mirrored, and in that mirroring, the spiritual scales are not just balanced, they are tipping in your favor. But what does this truly signify? It is not about ego or proving someone wrong. Instead, it is about the alignment of perception and reality. As a chosen one, you operate in a realm where timing is everything. Knowledge, intuition, and foresight exist in your consciousness before they are reflected in the physical world. When the people around you begin to acknowledge what you have long known, it confirms that your inner guidance is in harmony with the unfolding of reality. This alignment is profoundly empowering. It reminds you that your purpose, your observations, and your convictions are not only valid, they are necessary. Moreover, these moments are inherently transformational, not just for you, but for those who witness them. When a doubter becomes an echo of your truth, it opens a doorway for others to reassess their own perspectives. The ripple effect of your authenticity begins to spread. People may start to question their assumptions, to recognize truths they had overlooked, and, most importantly, to honor the guidance of those who operate on a higher frequency. This is a natural part of the spiritual awakening process. The chosen one acts as a catalyst, and the validation by others signals that the collective consciousness is beginning to shift. In essence, public acknowledgement of your truth is not just a social moment, it is a spiritual marker. It shows that what was once private knowledge is now part of shared reality, that your foresight is recognized, and that your journey as a chosen one is unfolding exactly as it should. These moments are proof that the universe has been listening, learning, and now responding. They remind you that while your path may be solitary at times, it is never unseen, and that your wisdom, once doubted, has always been destined to leave its mark on the world. Point 4. The silence of the skeptic. The person who once had a sharp comeback for every spiritual truth you shared is now silent. Remember those moments? Every time you spoke about divine timing, the unseen forces at work, or the subtle synchronicities that shape life, they would roll their eyes, scoff, or offer quick-witted arguments as if spiritual reality were a playground for debate. They were confident, even arrogant in their disbelief, thinking they could dismantle your insights with logic alone. But now, something has shifted. The energy around them has changed, and their words, once sharp and unrelenting, have fallen into an uncomfortable silence. This silence is not merely a pause, it is a powerful spiritual acknowledgement. It is a quiet testament to your authenticity and divine alignment. Silence, in this context, is more than just the absence of words, it is a confirmation. In spiritual traditions across the world, when someone's persistent doubt meets undeniable truth, their silence becomes a mirror reflecting the reality they once rejected. Consider how mystics and spiritual leaders describe moments of revelation. It is often not the argument that convinces the skeptic, but the irrefutable unfolding of events that cannot be denied or explained away. The very fabric of life, through its subtle nudges and extraordinary synchronizations, confirms the truths that were once ridiculed. That person's quiet now is not emptiness. It is a sacred pause, a cosmic acknowledgement of forces beyond human comprehension. From a psychological perspective, this silence also reflects cognitive dissonance. When someone has built their identity around disbelief or skepticism, facing undeniable proof triggers an internal conflict. Their brain struggles to reconcile prior assumptions with current reality. This tension often manifests as withdrawal, avoidance, or quiet observation rather than confrontation. In essence, your spiritual alignment has disrupted their mental narrative, and the lack of argument is a sign that your truths are now firmly grounded, no longer vulnerable to dismissal. Their silence is, paradoxically, a form of respect, a subconscious nod to the divine wisdom they once dismissed. Historically, spiritual confirmation often comes through indirect channels, through life events, subtle signs, or transformative experiences. The chosen ones, the spiritually awakened, have always witnessed this phenomenon. From prophets in ancient times whose enemies fell silent in the face of undeniable miracles to modern spiritual leaders whose skeptics quietly concede after witnessing inexplicable manifestations, this pattern repeats. Your own journey reflects this age-old truth. When your path is aligned with divine guidance, the universe itself orchestrates circumstances that validate your insight. The silence of others is not coincidence. It is evidence of your anointing. But this silence also carries a deeper message for you. It is not about ego or superiority. It is about patience, faith, and understanding that spiritual truth moves at its own pace. While your words once fell on resistant ears, the results, visible, undeniable, and often dramatic, communicate a higher truth that arguments cannot touch. It is an invitation to remain steadfast, to honor your inner calling, and to continue walking a path of clarity, wisdom, and authenticity. Their quiet is a reminder that the world is listening even when it seems skeptical. So when you sense that silence from the one who doubted you, recognize it as sacred. It is not a void, but a confirmation. It is the universe itself whispering, "You are aligned. You are chosen. Keep moving forward. And in that quiet, you find the power, the validation, and the peace that no argument, no skepticism, and no disbelief can ever take away. Point 5. The confession of regret. In a moment of vulnerability, when someone finally turns to you and admits, "I should have listened to you," or "You were right all along," it is far more than a casual acknowledgement. For a chosen one, these words carry weight, not only in the realm of human relationships, but in the invisible, intricate layers of spiritual energy that govern our lives. Such confessions are a window into the evolution of consciousness, the delicate dance between doubt and trust, fear and recognition, resistance and surrender. When someone admits they were wrong about you, they are not merely expressing humility, they are engaging in a profound spiritual release. The psychology behind this is fascinating. Humans are wired to protect their egos, to resist admitting mistakes, and to defend their preconceived notions. Yet the moment they step past that barrier, they experience a subtle shift in their internal energy. In the field of energy consciousness, this is akin to shedding an old, heavy skin, the accumulated weight of judgment, skepticism, or disbelief, and stepping into a cleaner, lighter vibrational state. For the chosen one, witnessing this shift is a form of recognition. It is a spiritual acknowledgement that the universe, in its quiet ways, often places certain souls in our path to guide, to illuminate, and to awaken dormant awareness. Interestingly, this phenomenon is not just anecdotal. It has roots in neuroscience and social psychology. Studies show that when someone admits they were wrong, it triggers a release of oxytocin, the hormone associated with trust and bonding. Their admission is more than words. It physically rewires their brain to create openness and receptivity. This is why chosen ones often find that their insights, wisdom, or warnings, though initially dismissed, eventually manifest as undeniable truths. People are drawn, almost magnetically, to the integrity of the chosen one because they sense the authenticity behind the message, even if it initially challenges their perception. On a metaphysical level, this confession serves as a clearing of energetic blockages. Doubt, skepticism, and denial are forms of resistance. They are energy forms that stagnate personal and collective growth. When a person finally admits they were wrong, it's a breaking of the old energy patterns. It is the universe's subtle way of harmonizing the vibrations between individuals, aligning the human experience with higher truths. For the chosen one, this is not about pride or validation. It is about witnessing the transformation of energy, the ripples of awakening that occur when human minds and hearts release the constraints of ego and judgment. Moreover, there is an undeniable karmic element to this process. The one who confesses may have unconsciously resisted the guidance offered by the chosen one, creating a loop of lessons meant to teach humility and discernment. When they finally recognize the truth, it completes a karmic cycle, allowing both parties to move forward with less resistance, more clarity, and a renewed sense of alignment. This is why chosen ones often find that the people who once doubted them later become their strongest allies, their most loyal supporters, or even co-creators in higher purpose endeavors. In essence, the act of someone admitting they should have listened is a sacred acknowledgement of your role as a chosen one. It is a moment where human ego meets divine order, where personal hesitation dissolves into trust, and where the vibration of truth radiates outward. It is both a gift and a confirmation, a reminder that the path you walk is not random, that your guidance matters, and that your presence has the power to awaken those who are ready to see. And as you witness this shift, remember, it is not their admission that defines you, but the unwavering alignment you maintain with your higher purpose, the quiet confidence of a soul that has always known its own truth. Point 6. The search for deeper connection. Those who once observed you from a distance, perceiving only the surface of your existence, are now drawn to the depths of your being. For years, many may have assumed they understood you simply by watching your actions or hearing fragments of your words. Yet now, something has shifted. They no longer settle for passing glances or shallow interpretations. Instead, they are pulled toward the essence behind your presence, the foundation that shapes every choice, every pause, every word spoken with intention. It is as though the universe itself has flipped the script, compelling people to finally see what was hidden in plain sight. A profound wisdom within you that cannot be manufactured, imitated, or reduced to human calculation. This awakening is not random. History shows us that society often misunderstands those who walk with quiet strength. Figures like Socrates, who chose questions over answers, or prophets who stood firm against opposition, were dismissed or doubted in their time, only for their true value to emerge later. The same phenomenon is happening in your life. People are recognizing that your insight does not stem from ambition, manipulation, or self-interest. It flows from a deeper well, a divine source that channels clarity, foresight, and peace through you. This is what makes your presence magnetic. It is not about trying to impress, but about living in such alignment with truth that others cannot help but notice. What fascinates those around you is not necessarily the foresight you have shown or the wisdom you've spoken, but the atmosphere you carry. There is a serenity in you that is rare in a world built on anxiety and constant striving. When others panic at uncertainty, you remain composed. When challenges strike, you are not easily shaken. This kind of steadiness is not luck. It is the result of discipline, reflection, and faith. Psychology even affirms that those who cultivate mindfulness and spiritual grounding have measurable resilience. They handle stress better, recover faster, and inspire trust in those around them. Your calmness in chaos, therefore, is not only spiritual, it is also observable, a living testimony of what self-mastery can achieve. And it is precisely this composure that makes your words carry weight. In an age where noise and opinions flood every corner of life, authenticity has become scarce. People crave voices that are not just loud, but true. When you speak, you do not demand attention, yet attention naturally follows because your words echo with depth, not ego. This is the quiet power of one who has endured the isolating path of transformation. You have walked through trials, endured the sting of judgment, and faced seasons of loneliness where no one seemed to understand your journey. And yet, instead of being broken, you emerged refined, with a luminous clarity that cannot be faked. That kind of clarity is magnetic, because it represents something people subconsciously long for: stability, meaning, and alignment with something greater than themselves. What is happening now is a revelation for those around you. They are no longer satisfied with surface-level interactions or casual admiration. They are hungry to understand what anchors you. They trace your actions back to the roots of your wisdom, hoping to catch even a glimpse of the source. Some may believe they can replicate your path, but they will soon discover what you already know. True wisdom cannot be copied like a formula. It is lived, tested, and shaped in the crucible of patience, faith, and perseverance. Just as a diamond is formed under pressure, your light has emerged through experiences that others may never see, but they sense the result nonetheless. Consider how this mirrors the natural world. Bamboo, for instance, spends years growing its roots underground before a single shoot breaks through the soil. To an onlooker, it seems as though nothing is happening during those years of hidden growth. But when the time is right, it surges upward with astonishing speed, becoming one of the fastest-growing plants on Earth. Your journey has been much the same. For a long time, people may have assumed nothing remarkable was happening in you. Yet beneath the surface, your spirit was expanding, your resilience was strengthening, and your wisdom was being cultivated. Now, the growth is undeniable. This realization changes the dynamic between you and others. Those who once overlooked or underestimated you now acknowledge what they missed, that your light is not ordinary. What you carry is rare, transformative, and timeless, and their pursuit of your presence, their curiosity about your insight, is itself a confirmation. They are bearing witness to the truth that you have always known deep down. You were never meant to blend into the background. Your journey, though difficult and often misunderstood, was preparing you to shine in a way that cannot be ignored. What they seek is not simply your company or your counsel. They seek the reassurance that such groundedness is possible. You remind them, whether they realize it or not, that life does not have to be lived in chaos, that strength does not have to roar to be heard, and that true influence comes not from force, but from alignment with the eternal. In their seeking, they are affirming the higher truth you embody. Your light was never meant to be hidden, and your path was never meant to be ordinary. In the end, what draws others to you is not just who you are, but what you represent. You are living proof that wisdom is not noise, but silence lived well. That strength is not aggression, but steadfastness in storms. And that purpose is not ambition, but surrender to a divine rhythm that guides you. Those who once watched from afar now draw near, not to consume your light, but to learn from it, and in doing so, they reveal a universal truth. Authenticity always rises, and light, no matter how long it is hidden, cannot remain unseen forever. Point 7. The shifting of energy around you. You will feel a palpable change in the spiritual energy of your circle. A shift so subtle yet undeniable that it almost hums in the air around you. The tension and resistance you once encountered from those around you, the subtle doubts, the veiled judgments, the friction that seemed to shadow every interaction, begin to dissolve. What replaces it is not mere relief, but a profound energy of acceptance and reverence, as if the universe itself has acknowledged the quiet strength you have carried all along. This is not coincidence. It is the reflection of alignment, a sign that the vibrational frequency you radiate is now resonating more authentically with the world around you. People may not immediately understand why they are drawn to your presence, or why your words carry weight in ways they never did before. Some might feel it subconsciously, sensing an unspoken authority in your being, a depth of wisdom and clarity that commands respect without demand. Others might consciously notice the shift, recognizing the magnetic authenticity in your actions, your unshakable calm, and the certainty in your truths. This transformation is subtle, yet it is monumental. The universe is not just observing you, it is bending in quiet acknowledgement of the path you were always meant to walk. Interestingly, science and spiritual research both point toward this phenomenon. Studies in human energy fields and biofield science suggest that individuals who maintain high vibrational frequencies, rooted in clarity, purpose, and inner truth, can influence the energy around them. Emotions are contagious, and intention radiates through subtle energy, altering the dynamics of interactions and even influencing group consciousness. In your case, this is amplified exponentially because you are operating from a higher spiritual frequency, a state that only the chosen one can inhabit fully. As this energy spreads, your circle begins to mirror this alignment. The tension that once obstructed your journey transforms into admiration, curiosity, and even gentle support. People unconsciously align themselves with your clarity because you are no longer just participating in the world. You are actively orchestrating it with the unseen threads of truth and authenticity. And with every interaction, every glance, every word, the universe continues to reflect back the undeniable proof that your presence is not just noticed, it is revered, honored, and finally understood. My beautiful chosen one, this is your time. This is not about being right, but about standing in your divine truth. Your patience, your quiet knowing, and your unwavering faith have been vindicated. As people begin to realize the depth of your wisdom, remember to respond, not with pride, but with the same gentle spirit that guided you through the years of misunderstanding. Your journey was never about proving them wrong. It was about honoring the divine purpose within you. Now you stand as a beacon of truth, and the light you carry is finally being seen. Continue to walk your path with grace, knowing that the anointing on your life is not only for your own strength, but also for the spiritual awakening of those around you. Be blessed, stay sober, and be a light in the quiet.